Ancient Human. The Origin of Our Species. Source, Big Think, New Scientist. By visualgk.com. Around 6 million years ago, a branch of apes evolved to become the first species of the genus Homo. These early humans ditched the long arms of apes for stronger legs. While they could no longer swing around on trees, they could stand upright, walk, and colonize new ecosystems, away from the forest. The brains of early humans grew until we were using complex tools to hunt large animals, build fires, and construct shelters. By the time Homo sapiens arrived on the scene, some 300,000 years ago, we were the ninth Homo species, joining habilis, erectus, rudolfensis, Heidelbergensis, Floresiensis, Neanderthalensis, naledi, and luzonensis. Many of these species lived for much longer periods of time than we have. Homo habilis. The handyman. 2.4 million to 1.4 million years ago. In 1960, a team of researchers uncovered fossilized remains of an early human in Tanzania. These fossils had brain cases slightly larger than those of apes. Suspecting that these specimens were responsible for the thousands of stone tools found near the site, scientists dubbed the species handyman, or Homo habilis. Homo habilis is widely considered to be the first member of the genus Homo that evolved from apes. Homo habilis was small, standing somewhere between 3.5 feet and 4.5 feet tall. Homo habilis lived as the only member of our genus for nearly 1 million years. Homo erectus. The enduring hiker. 1.89 million to 110,000 years ago. As the name implies, Homo erectus is the first known Homo species that stood fully upright. Homo erectus featured other, modern human proportions, distinct from those of apes, like shorter arms relative to the torso, and long legs adapted for walking and running, rather than climbing trees. Homo erectus is the first human with a significantly larger brain case than that of apes. They also had smaller teeth. Scientists found campfires and hearths near the remains of Homo erectus, suggesting they were the first humans to dabble with cooking. A uniquely human activity that gave us access to easily digestible food, allowing our brains and bodies to grow. Homo rudolfensis. The stranger. 1.9 million to 1.8 million years ago. We know little about Homo rudolfensis, a hominid discovered near Kenya's Lake Rudolph, now known as Lake Turkana. Homo rudolfensis had a considerably greater brain case than Homo habilis. A good indicator that the species was human. However, some scientists argue it may be better placed with the genus Australopithecus, a close relative of Homo, because of its smaller size and similarities in the pelvis and shoulder. Homo heidelbergensis. The hunter. 700,000 to 200,000 years ago. Around 700,000 years ago, Homo heidelbergensis, also referred to as Homo rudolfensis, arrived on the scene in Europe and Eastern Africa. Scientists think that these smaller, wider humans were the first to live in cold places. The remains of animals like horses, elephants, hippopotamuses, and rhinoceroses were found together with Homo heidelbergensis. That proximity suggests that this group of humans was the first to hunt larger animals with spears. To stay warm, these humans also learned how to control fire, and they built simple shelters out of wood and rock. Homo floresiensis. The Hobbit. 100,000 to 50,000 years ago. Homo floresiensis is known only from remains found in 2003 on the island of Flores, Indonesia. Along with the remains of Homo floresiensis, were some stone tools, dwarf elephants, and Komodo dragons. A discovery that paints quite a scene of the island life of these small humans. The isolation of Homo floresiensis likely contributed to its small brains and stature, estimated at approximately 3 feet 6 inches, from a female specimen. In fact, its size conforms to the ecological principle of insular dwarfism. Homo Neanderthalensis. The Neanderthal thinkers. 400,000 to 40,000 years ago. Our closest relatives Neanderthals were shorter and stockier than us, but had brains that were as big, or even bigger, than our own. Neanderthals lived a tough life. We find bones riddled with fractures, suggesting they did not always succeed when they hunted large animals. They also lived in seriously cold environments, in Europe and in southeastern and central Asia. To cope, they made fires, and lived in sophisticated shelters. The Neanderthals buried their dead. With many intact specimens, scientists have successfully extracted Neanderthal DNA, and found that at one point, humans and Neanderthals mated. Homo naledi. The enigmatic newcomer. 335,000 to 236,000 years ago. Homo naledi were small hominids that lived in South Africa. We do not know much about Homo naledi, because they were only discovered in late 2015. Homo naledi were small, around 4 feet 9 inches. While the excavation unearthed a treasure trove of human fossils, the researchers found no tools or other animals alongside Homo naledi. So their lifestyle remains a mystery. Homo luzonensis. A polemic finding. At least 67,000 years ago. In 2019, researchers visited a small cave on an island in northern Indonesia. Though they found human remains, they only unearthed 7 teeth, 3 foot bones, 2 finger bones, and a fragment of a thigh bone. Still, due to its geographic isolation and small size, the scientists felt confident in declaring that this species was unknown to science. They named it Luzonensis, after Luzon, the island on which it was found. However, some researchers argue that there were not enough remains to rule out that Homo luzonensis is a variant of the well-known island dweller, Homo floresiensis. Please like, share and subscribe. visualgk.com